I have some stories for you that are definitely going to leave you wondering just how far gone we are. Now, I've been telling you about the insane weather we have in this country and how it could be related to the stuff we're putting in our skies. However, some people have asked me how I would explain what we're seeing in other parts of the world. I mean, we already know how entire Chinese cities have been devastated by rain and flash flooding.
冲跑了，咱们车也冲跑了，叼着呢，看着吗？叼着呢，没招了。我操！我操！
Just a day ago, Hong Kong got hammered by 13.8 inches of rain, which is the highest since 1884. And as you can imagine, the videos coming out of this ultra-modern megacity were shocking.
Wow, 呢個唔影唔得，呢個，哇！
So how would I explain this much rainfall in a country like China? Well, do you know how much artificial rain China produces through cloud seeding each and every year? 55 billion tons. That's how much, and that was reported by the end of the last decade. From everything I've read, the country is trying to quadruple that number, which is absolutely insane. And the area it's targeting is Tibet, which is right next to the Himalayas. And let me just show you what people witnessed in the Himalayan mountains of India. I don't know about you guys, but that is the scariest thing I've ever seen in a very long time. How are you even supposed to protect yourself from something that can flatten multiple-story concrete buildings in an instant? Now, the experts are, of course, calling it a cloudburst event, but that wall of water does not look natural at all. And this is just one of the places in India that have been hit by intense, unexpected flooding. Interestingly, India also has multiple cloud seeding programs which have been running for a while. Moving on, let's look at Russia, which happens to be another regional power. Well, that country has also been smashed by record rains.
Вот там, смотрите, вода льется. Где лестница, скамейка.
Once again, we find state-sponsored cloud seeding programs. And you'll find this same pattern in any place that has seen a shocking amount of flooding this year. So I guess people are justified in asking for a transparent investigation into this matter. Unfortunately, that's just not happening. And instead, people are recording stuff like this from airplanes because we often can't see these trails from the ground. Of course, on a sunny day, you can spot them easily, as this North Carolina resident did only a couple of days ago. You can't even see the sky at this point, which made me wonder what the hell they could be planning. Well, after doing some digging, I saw this report, which claims that a new storm might be heading towards the Carolinas. Interestingly, the article warns us that even if the storm doesn't turn into a hurricane, it can cause intense damage in the region. And we all know how even a couple of inches of rain can drown towns in North Carolina.
Yo, this is about my house.
And that's exactly why I'm going to keep my eyes on these storm warnings, because oftentimes they turn out to be much more than what they report. Now, moving on, I want to discuss what's going on in DC. Apparently, a Doge employee was assaulted by some teens in the Capitol, and the president gave this warning to the local authorities.
By the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Honestly speaking, the people of DC might even welcome a total federal takeover because they might finally start feeling a little bit safe. But this isn't the only announcement he made yesterday. He also talked about Ghislaine Maxwell.
I just a very highly thought of person, respected by everybody. And I didn't talk to him about it, but I will tell you that whatever he asked would be totally appropriate, and it's not an uncommon thing to do that. And I think he probably wants to make sure that, you know, people that should not be involved or aren't involved are not hurt by something that would be very, very unfortunate, very unfair to a lot of people. But I will say this, Todd Blanche is one of the most highly respected people you'll ever meet. So I know this. I didn't discuss it with him, but anything he talked about with her, or the fact that he did that, not unusual, number one, and most importantly is something that would be totally above board.
First of all, I just want to know who these people are that we have to protect. Once again, this just removes the legitimacy of anything that might come out of Ghislaine Maxwell's mouth. But trust me, things only get weirder from here. For instance, did you know that Diddy is now formally asking the president for a pardon? Interestingly, the president has entertained this idea in the past.
More of a page 6 question, but back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years.
Now that Diddy has been acquitted of all the major charges, the administration could even get away with pardoning him. We have someone who's been accused of heinous crimes all his life, and he could be pardoned any day now. What the hell is even happening in this country anymore? Now, the president also once again talked about those rebates.
You know, one of the questions asked of me this morning is, are you going to make a dividend to the people? And the purpose of what I'm doing is primarily to pay down debt, which will happen in very large quantity. But I think there's also a possibility that we're taking in so much money that we may very well make a dividend to the people of America.
I have a feeling that even if they do give out any checks, they're going to put out some income thresholds, and a lot of people who can use that money might not even qualify. But all of this is meaningless since there is no widespread support for such a plan in Congress. And as for why the president talked about it, well, the president was saying some pretty wild things yesterday.
Mr. President, what do you want to build? What are you trying to build? Sir, do you approve? You say more missiles? Are you building missiles?
I'm pretty sure he was just joking about putting nukes on the roof of the White House, but we never know, do we? Now, of course, the government doesn't really have funds for giving tax relief to people on Social Security, but for some reason, the NASA chief is making insane promises like this one.
We're in a race to the moon, in a race with China to the moon, and to have a base on the moon, we need energy. And some of the key locations on the moon, we're going to get solar power. But this fission technology is critically important. And so we've spent hundreds of $millions studying, can we do it? We are now going to move beyond studying, and we have given direction to go, let's start to deploy our technology to move to actually make this a reality. And I think the stat we have is it's a 100 kilowatt output. That's the same amount of energy a 2,000 square foot home uses every 3.5 days. So we're not talking about massive technology. We're not launching this live. That's obviously, if you have any questions about that, no, we're not launching it live. But again, energy is important. And if we're going to be able to sustain life on the moon to then go to Mars, this technology is critically important. And I would just note that we're behind, right? If we're going to engage in the race to the moon and the race to Mars, we have to get our act together. We have to marshal all of our resources, all of our focus on going to the moon, which is what we're going to do. And again, there's a lot of things that NASA does, and a lot of people love a lot of the things that NASA does. But this is about space exploration, and this is about this next phase. A lot of people don't know even what Artemis is. Everyone knew what Apollo was. We all knew, the whole world knew what Apollo was. We were going to the moon. Artemis is we're going back. So in the first part of next year, we are going to send Artemis 2 out. Met the 4 astronauts. They're fantastic. We're going to go out around the moon and come back. Artemis 3, we are going to go back to the moon. We're going to land. The longest time we've spent in the past was 3 days. We're going to stay for 6 days. And then after that, we're able to start shipping our assets to the moon unmanned. And we'll have those assets there as our astronauts arrive and are able to build a base. But this is critically important. There's a certain part of the moon that everyone knows is the best. We have ice there. We have sunlight there. We want to get there first and claim that for America.
So are you actually telling us that we're going to hand NASA hundreds of billions of dollars to put a nuclear reactor in a place where it could very well be useless? Please make that make sense, because I don't know what they're even doing anymore. And for some reason, I don't like the idea of handing over so much money to a shady agency like NASA. But do let me know what you guys think about this issue and everything else that we've discussed in today's video. Have you also been seeing those white streaks all across the sky? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you'll tune in for the next one.